Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 6 of L2R2, a PlayStation podcast. My name's Fonzie. I'm joined by my co-host, UK indie game dev, and my bruh from another mum, Callum Monroe. Callum, how are you?
Hello. Yeah, good. Yeah, just had some exciting news drop, so good. Excited to get into it, and it looks like we've got a good episode planned today, so
Yeah.
should be a good one.
How's your health doing? I just got sick. I'm hoping it's just a cold, but how are you doing over there in the UK?
Yeah, good. Yeah. My lips for some reason have been like just absolutely destroyed by the weather.
Oh, yeah.
I don't normally get like bad lips or anything, but they're just I don't know I don't know if it's because I'm sort of mid-20s now. That's when you start to start falling apart, or I'm not sure. So
Fuck off, man.
yeah,
You're so young. You got life ahead of you. Like, talk to me when, I'm just barely like 30, so it's like I still can't complain either. Like, if we were both to talk shit about this in front of some actual old people, they'd kick our ass for even complaining.
Yeah, well, I'd probably say like the differing like immune systems. We'd probably like give or take. We probably could be experiencing similar things at the same time. So
I got a weird knee. Like, my knee cracks or makes weird sounds for some reason. Like,
Yeah.
I'd still, I'll run on it and stuff, but I think there's like cartilage, something stuck in there. It makes like an audible popping noise, but I just got to deal with it. I don't know.
My feet have always been like my ankles and things are always clicking and hurting and doing strange things. But yeah, it's just life, isn't it?
Right.
It's just everything's just tiring and everything gets tired. So,
But you're active where you're doing martial arts and stuff. So do you ever notice? Have you ever like seriously injured yourself, your body, where you have to like take a time off?
the worst thing I did was quite a while ago now. I tore my Achilles tendon, but that was to do with I actually tore a different tendon in my foot, which made me end up tearing my Achilles because of how I walked on it. But that was to do with work as well. And only other thing other than that is I sprained my ankle quite a few times. I haven't done it in a while, touch wood. And my nose, as you can probably see, has been plastered across my face a few times.
Oh, really? It looks good. It's a good looking nose.
it's a certain angle.
We're like, oh god.
but nah. Yeah, I've been pretty lucky. So I haven't had anything too major. So
Nice.
yeah, just like you said, just things starting to make weird noises.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just kind of go, okay, that's what it does now, I guess. Or
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Well, what'd you play over the week?
So I played quite a lot actually. I managed to. I haven't actually played any Dreams, which is what I thought I would play. For some reason, I just haven't been in the mood to sit down with it.
Yeah,
but,
same here.
I finally platinumed Ni no Kuni, the first one.
Oh, right, you're trying to do that.
which has sort of been lingering for a while. And after I did that, I've been playing Resident Evil 1, the remake on PS4.
Oh, yeah.
Which is I'm just sort of I'm just really into sort of Resident Evil at the moment, just trying to do all the different challenges before the third one comes out. It's just so scary though. I find it so hard to sit down and play it on my own, and me and a friend were playing it sort of during the week, and we finished it on like the easiest difficulty just so we could get our heads around all the puzzles and all of that. And so I've started again on hard difficulty, but I'm playing that on my own, and I have to like be really in the mood for it because I do get quite frightened when I'm on my own.
Yeah. What do they do when they ramp up the difficulty in those games? Do they just add more enemies? Are they stronger? How do they deal with the difficulty?
Yeah, so there's more enemies. They take a lot more damage. They do a lot more damage.
Gotcha.
Items are a lot more scarce. So for example, when I played it on very easy, I think I don't know if you know on the first Resident Evil and most of Resident Evil, you need ink ribbons to be able to save.
Oh, sure.
And your inventory's really tight, so you always have to put them in the item box and things. And I think when we completed, we always had at least 10 ink ribbons when we were playing on very easy, so it was never a problem.
Okay.
And we'd save all the time and everything. But playing on hard, I've just finished a part, and I have to return to the mansion now, which is where these new enemies come in. It gets really difficult. And I've got no ink ribbons, so I can't save it. So I'm gonna have to do the next sort of hour or two's worth of sort of story without saving, which is putting me off a little bit. But
Yeah.
hopefully one day soon I'll get brave and just be like, yeah, I can do it. So
Although picturing like you losing that, you put an hour between like saves and then you die, it's like that's got to be crushing. Where it's like I don't want to go back and do this. Like it's such a bummer. You know,
and it makes it scarier because it's like more tense because you know that one attack and you could die and that's it. So it makes you even more scared of the end, which I think is quite good. I'm really enjoying it, to be honest, on hard. It's good fun. They're just such good games. But yeah, in fact, I don't know if you've seen, but the PlayStation Store at the moment's got a Japan sale on at the moment.
Oh no, I haven't noticed that.
With all the Japanese games are all on sale, and I just picked up Resident Evil Revelations for like £6 or something.
That was another, that's not a remake, but like, what did they do with that one? Was it a full blown remake or just like some kind of in between thing? I remember that being advertised, and I just kind of disregarded it, but that was a while ago.
Yeah, so I think so. I played Revelations 2. I've never played the first one, but I played Revelations 2, which came out on PS4 and everything. It was episodic, actually. And then the first Revelations, I think, was either a DS or a PSP game.
Okay.
One of the handhelds. And then it was ported to the other systems sort of later. So yeah, I've never played that one, but I mean, they're normally at the very least fun, or at the very most fun, one of the two.
Gotcha.
So I'm hoping that, but I thought for £6 I can't go wrong. And you know, there's this big sort of, personally, I've had like a big resurgence for wanting to play all the Resident Evil games. So I thought whilst it's that price, I might as well. But yeah, so it's a good sale to check out. Actually, there's a lot of good games on there for really good prices.
That's dope. I'll check that out.
What have you been playing?
Really, for me, not an extreme amount. I've been playing a lot of Tony Hawk games because I told you last week I bought a PlayStation 2 used, the slim one, and been playing that and just like
Slippery
collecting.
slope.
Yeah, and so I'm just like collecting all the Tony Hawk games that I had fun with. Playing that. I'll dip into Fortnite every once in a while. And then, you know what I was playing? This is on Switch, but it's called, and it's actually on PS4 too, but I bought it on Switch. It's called Blood Roots. It's an indie game that's been kind of advertised lately. It's really cool. It's a lot like Hotline Miami, where you're just like, it's just very fast paced and you're kind of linking combos almost. Everything's a weapon, so you'll grab stuff, use it, but it breaks after like 3 hits. And so you're just constantly grabbing stuff and hitting enemies, but it's one hit, one kill kind of thing for you and for the other enemies.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
But it's really dope. It's very hard, but it's just action packed and
yeah, it sounds fun.
The art style's
they're
really
the kind
cool.
of games that are good on Switch as well.
Yeah. That's why I got it, so I could like be on the couch and you know, my wife can be watching TV, I can be playing that thing. But it's brutally hard. Like I'm just. Yeah. And I've been reading online, reading reviews. It's getting really good reviews. That's why I downloaded in the first place. But no one else seems to be having any issues that I'm having. So it's like I want to be like, hey, this is super hard, and no one else say anything. So I'm like, oh, okay, maybe it's actually like normal. So I should shut up.
Well, I think that's again. I don't know about you, but my skill set with games has decreased quite bad. I think we've talked about this before. I think it's more just the attention span. You know, I just don't have it in me to retry areas when I die, or sort of keep trying and trying again until I get good. I have to just be good at it straight away most of the time. Yeah,
there's a few games lately in the past couple of years while I've really stuck down, like I need to beat this. There was Celeste, was this 2D platformer. I don't know if you got to play it. Yeah. That's one of my favorite games of like the past, I don't know, 5 years, 10 years.
Yeah,
and I stuck with it.
Didn't it?
I want to say it did. I know it was like it was in the conversation for a lot of different outlets out there. That one I stuck through and beat, even though it was like punishing, but still very fun to like figure it out. Also, let's see, there was Mario Odyssey on Switch.
Oh, yeah.
You can beat the campaign, but like there's all the other moons and stuff to actually 100% the game. And it's so fucking brutal to actually like 100% it and get all the outlier like moons. And I finally did that. And I was just like, okay, I wanted to complete it. But yeah, what about you? Is there any ones that you had to like really trudge through to get to that final thing?
Oh, hugely. I mean, like I said before, I love trophies on the PlayStation. So there's a lot of times. I mean, even going back recently to Resident Evil 2, getting the platinum on that. Ni no Kuni was an extremely hard platinum. So yeah, I think you do get to that point where you don't have as much time to play games where, you know, you realize that you can only sit down and try and, you know, like 100% or, you know, master certain games. Whereas when you're a kid, you're just like, oh yeah, I'll do everything.
Right. Yeah, you know what? I only have one platinum on PlayStation, and it's kind of embarrassing. But for some reasons, like I've gotten close. I've never like fully. I need to commit and just like stick and do it. But my only platinum is Donut County on PlayStation.
Okay.
Did you ever play that game?
I've heard that's quite good actually.
It's dope.
I've seen videos of it. I think I saw a review from Jim Sterling on it.
Oh yeah,
it's quite funny.
It's hilarious and weird and quirky, and it's a super easy platinum, and that's probably why it's my only one. But that's my only, and I like keeping it there. It's like that's my only platinum. I'm just gonna leave it like that.
Yeah, and I don't know. I've always been into like it's like when I was a kid, I used to love like playing like Jack and Daxter and Ratchet and Clank on PS2, and I loved like making sure I got all of I think it was like the golden bolts or the power cells.
Oh, sure, yeah, the things you could collect.
So I've always loved like the meta game. I just like to sort of look at these games that I really love. I mean, I'm not like some people who like trophy hunt and they like purposely buy easy to platinum games.
Sure, yeah.
I just like to platinum games that I love, like 'cause it's just sort of like makes me feel good. Like with Ni no Kuni, I mean I adored that game, but it did get to the point where I was like 60 hours in, and I was like, and I was just solely going for the platinum trophy, and I was just like, oh, I really could do with just stopping now.
Yeah.
There comes a point where you've played it for so long that you might as well just carry on with it.
That's the thing. You're so close to the goalpost, you might as well just.
Exactly. Yeah.
Nice.
And the only other thing I played, which I mentioned earlier today, was the Final Fantasy demo, which I believe you did as well.
Yeah. Let's get into that. How are you feeling about this demo?
Well, I should preface it by saying I played a demo of it at Gamescom, which was just the Scorpion boss fight thing. Okay. So this demo was obviously quite a bit longer. I think it's just incredible. I think it is masterfully done. I think as I've played the original only once, but it was quite recently. And even in the demo, they've added in a few things to the plot that sort of really flesh it out. And yeah, I just think it's really well done. I think the combat's really good. I think the dialogue wasn't too campy, like how a lot of their...
It has to be a little campy, like that's,
Yeah, it has to be, yeah. Because like Kingdom Hearts 3, one of Square's newer games, like was just too much for me, and I was just a bit worried that it was going to go down that route. But I thought it was... I just thought it was... I think it looks amazing. I think it plays amazing. I think the difficulty is spot on. I think... Yeah, I'm so excited for it now. But yeah, what did you think?
Well, I'm curious, what mode are you playing on? So I'm doing the action-y kind of, I forget what they call it, where you can kind of actually hack and slash, and you can still have your abilities that you can stop time and select, but how are you playing?
Yeah, because there was classic, easy, and normal, wasn't there?
Right, yeah.
I just chose normal, so I opted for I think same as you, probably the newer combat system. Because when I first saw classic, I thought, oh, that sounds cool, because I love the classic Final Fantasy games. But it sounded like it said about classic that everyone or the person you control attacks automatically, and then you just control the commands. That's what classic is. So I actually thought that didn't sound quite as good. So yeah, I just played it on normal difficulty. And yeah, I think it was just, I really don't have anything bad to say about it. It was just, I think it's just so well done. I think it's such a, I mean, I know the full game's not out, but from what I've seen and what I've played so far, it's just such a return to form for Square Enix, who have been really out of it for a while now. Yeah, no, I would agree with all of that. Especially what caught me off guard was the visuals. I mean, it's fucking, beautiful. Like I'm watching that first intro. Cloud's on the train. He pops off, and then it's like, oh, we're playing the game. Like it's like cutscene and gameplay are just right then and there. It's like they're using the same models. When you go into cutscene, it's like it's the same model. It's pretty nuts. The hair is super, high fidelity. The texture. There's like on Cloud. It looks unreal.
Is that his name? The main guy, Cloud, right?
Cloud,
okay, yeah. And this is also the first time I've ever played a Final Fantasy game, so that's awesome. One part of it too. But his armor, he's got this bolt for some reason. He's got bolts coming out of it, but like even that has like high quality textures. I'm like, why? But that's awesome though that they did that. Yeah.
So I'm interested. So if you haven't played, obviously. So did you know much about the story at all, or was this like
no? I know jack shit about what's going on.
So what did you think of? Because although I only played Final Fantasy 7 once, but I really enjoy the series, and so I know a bit about the story itself and everything. So how did how did you feel the story was in the demo? Like, was it easy to follow? Was it?
I mean, I could tell like there's these, Cloud, the main dude, he's meeting them for the first time. I can tell that's going on. There's that chick who's, super into him. There's that dude with the gun who's like doesn't trust him. I can tell that dynamic's going on. I don't know why he's in the city. I don't know what they're trying to do. It seems like they're trying to like they're almost like some kind of like not terrorists, but like this like anti-group that's trying to like, do something, change whatever narrative. But other than that, I have no idea what's going on. But it seems I always had the general gist. I know with Final Fantasy VII, somebody gets a sword in them, and it's a big deal when they die. I know that happens. I know there's the bad guy Sephiroth. I know these things happen, these beats, but I just don't know what it all like added up to.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's it's just interesting because pretty much, I mean, that's the reason I played it, the original recently, because I mean, I love Final Fantasy, and for some reason, 7 was one of the only ones I hadn't played. And it's mostly because of how it looks. It just looks hideous.
It's tough, yeah.
But I sort of forced my way through it, and just so I could experience it. And yeah, I think they've done a great job. I think they've done a really good job of fleshing it all out, and the music is still there, and which is great. And yeah, I'm so excited. I mean, I'm just a bit worried because Resident Evil 3 comes out and then Final Fantasy comes out like a week later. So I need to
it's gonna get
rough. To make sure that I have a courageous week of playing Resident Evil 3 where I don't stop.
It's funny too when you beat the demo. The next scene is like, okay, which one do you want to buy? Do you want to buy the special edition or the regular edition? It's not like, do you want to buy it? It's like, which one you buying?
Yeah.
And that's how they end it.
I noticed that. Yeah,
it's like, I don't know. I was
tempted, but
yeah, they're very much.
Yeah, I think I'll just get it when it comes out. I've seen all the special editions, but yeah, no, I'm really really excited. I'm just so glad that they've done so well with the combat in particular. Because I wasn't a fan of Final Fantasy 15, had a far more action orientated combat, and it's not that I don't enjoy that kind of combat, but it was just done so badly in 15. It was just it was way too easy. It was hardly, because you want your action combat to be really like immersive, like you're really, because that's what I found with the demo, especially in the boss fight. Like I was constantly like checking my health and trying to move out the way of attacks, and that's what you want from your action RPGs. So I just think they've done it so well. I think they've got the best of both worlds of the turn-based with your commands that you can do. Yeah, I think it's great. Yeah, I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, no, I'm very optimistic, and as somebody who's not really been a fan traditionally, I'm more interested in this remake and adding that more updated way to play that just appeals to me. Yeah. And this, I'm not sure if I'll like the storyline at the end of the day, but I know that I'm along for the ride. I'm down to see what happens, and visually, it's nuts. I don't know engine wise.
I'm sure you will.
Yeah.
I'm sure you like the story. The story's it's very reminiscent with what's going on today as well. It sort of was very ahead of its time. So yeah, I think you'll really like it. There's a lot of twists and turns to come.
Gotcha.
A lot of, I mean, there's so many characters. I mean, Barrett, the guy with the gun.
Oh right.
He's sort of like in that demo. He's like one of the only main characters. Sort of the rest of them you don't even know, you haven't met yet. I mean, that's what's sort of really exciting, but quite hard to wrap my head around. Is there's so much to that game on PlayStation 1, and to sort of know how much they're fleshing it out, that it's going to be multi-part. Yeah. It's just, I mean, the way they're going to be able to tell that story is it's going to be great. And yeah, the story is, I do have to say, as much as Final Fantasy 7 is, the original game is horrible to play, probably one of my least favorite Final Fantasies to actually play. The story and the characters are up there with some of the best. It's a very, very, very good story.
Gotcha. Yeah, we'll see more. I didn't pull up the release date. I'm not familiar with the actual release date for this, but this is,
I think it's April 10th.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. So yeah, that's very soon.
Yeah.
Nice, Callum. Yeah, we played that. I didn't buy it yet. We'll see what happens, when it comes out. But they were definitely holding me hostage there.
Yeah, at the end. We're staying cheapskates for now.
Yeah, it's getting rough now. It seems like there was somewhat of a drought, sort of, and now it's just like banger after banger in these next couple months.
Huge drought. I mean, there hasn't been anything since probably November time, I'd say.
Yeah.
And now we'll get to April, and then it's just all from there. It's just going to go mad.
Well, Callum, we'll transition into another game that's now going to be on our docket pretty soon. So this was just dropped today. Yeah. We're recording on a Thursday morning, or for me, Thursday morning, Thursday afternoon for you. Ghost of Tsushima. I'm going to butcher that further on. But they just out of the blue, PlayStation dropped an image with the collector's edition and the actual release date along with the trailer. So we have Ghost of Tsushima releasing on June 26th, which is just months away. Now there's also a collector's edition with some pretty cool looking stuff here, and then a trailer. What do you think, to pick apart that release date? How do you feel about that? What were you kind of anticipating? Do you think that's too soon? Really, they have to get it out before PS5, so I think they do have a timeline or time limit.
Yeah, I think it's a tough one because obviously you've got Last of Us coming out in May. So I think that's probably the best thing they could have done. Sort of because it was meant to come out. I know it's been delayed quite a few times. So was Last of Us. So I think Sony have kind of not on purpose, because obviously developing games is hard and they need to delay them when they need to. But it's kind of been butchered with these release dates and trying to make sure they're spaced out well enough so that everyone can play them. So yeah, I think June 26th is about right. And yeah, it's just adding to this just now constant barrage of titles coming. I mean, that's every month now. I mean, we've got April, we've got Resident Evil 3 and Final Fantasy, May, Last of Us 2, now this in June. There's probably lots more that I haven't even mentioned.
Yeah, I'm sure I'm blanking out.
Yeah, so it's it's exciting. It's adding to an exciting year.
What do you think about them, PlayStation-wise? What do you think about them not waiting for like whatever their PlayStation Direct is called, those equivalents, not having their own special announcement, but just dropping this out of the blue? Do you feel weird about that?
Yeah, it's a little strange. Yeah, it's a little strange. I think it's maybe because they're saving their state, because if they were to bring out State of Play but they're not ready to announce the PS5, then people would probably get crabby about them not talking about the PS5. So I don't know if it's anything to do with that. But yeah, it's a little bit strange because they've really been quite on board with their State of Play thing. So but either way, I mean, nowadays information gets out the same way.
It does. Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, I'm just excited to get a release date. Like I was saying earlier, I haven't seen much on it really. I saw the sort of reveal thing, and then for some reason I haven't really seen much more about it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to. Hopefully, it'll be a little bit easier than Sekiro, because I love that setting. But Sekiro just drove me mental, so I can spend as much time with it.
I'm thinking because it's the Sucker Punch devs. They did Infamous. I feel like they're going to go from that more actiony. We were just talking about Final Fantasy. Yeah, I think they're going to go with more of that approachable, a block attack kind of stuff is what I imagine. Yeah. Well, they came out a while ago now and just sort of confirmed that it's not going to be historically accurate, so that people could like straight away not jump down their throats about mistakes or whatever, which I think is better. I mean, I suppose it doesn't restrict them. It means they can just do what they want creatively, which is good. But it's sort of sad that they feel like they have to come out and be like before it's even out, like, it's not going to be historically accurate, so don't jump down our throats. And I'm sure not historically accurate, but they're still going to respect the culture and the history and all that.
Yeah,
I trust them.
Yeah.
It's always a can of worms when you're jumping into this kind of thing. I'm sure they feel that, and they're going to make sure and represent that. And not get...
Yeah. I'm sure they'll have tried to represent it as much as they can.
Yeah. So yeah, they put this out of the blue. There's a trailer along with it, which we both haven't seen, so we can kind of watch this in real time at the same time. I guess I'll cue you to hit that play button. If you're starting at the beginning, we can hit it now.
Cool.
I'll just make sure my volume isn't insane.
Well, as long as there's inappropriate content for children, then I'm all in.
Well, we'll see. I do remember... I mean, I can't hear what they're talking about, but somebody did redo the opening level in Dreams. I don't know if we talked about that or saw that, but that Ghost of Tsushima like trailer in Dreams, it was nuts, but it looked very close to what this game looks like.
It does look a lot like Sekiro already. In fact, it reminds me as well. I mean, it's a completely different time period and country, but I love like Total War 3 Kingdoms.
Sure.
And it might just that sort of the sort of color palette is very similar to that as well. It does look very cool.
Yep. Yeah, I'm sure we're seeing these are cutscenes that are not using the engine and branching off of it, but I wouldn't doubt they're getting really close to this. Like I think we are seeing a mixture of in-game footage with this stuff.
Yeah. Well, you'd imagine now that probably any PS4 games that come out around this time will be PS5 games downscaled to play on PS4.
I would imagine.
Especially of how Final Fantasy 7 looks.
Right.
Yeah, it looks very cool.
It's like you're Batman in this like feudal Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. They're all speaking English, so there's no way this is totally accurate. But
No, yeah.
they also have to like, okay, we still gotta sell this thing or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe there's like an alternate mode where they can do like
maybe,
legitimate Japanese and then just have the subtitles. Like that'd be kind of dope.
Yeah.
I love that everything's blown in the wind. Anything that can move is moving.
Yeah. It looks really cool. I'm glad it's very narrative heavy as well. Mm-hmm. So I love this sort of kind of setting.
That's dope. I want to sneak around like that.
Yeah.
Have they showed the Mongols yet? Because that's the whole enemy that they kind of keep teasing in the game. But I don't know if they've shown.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. Maybe in like short bursts in some of the combat.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that white and red. That white and red was used in sort of in a lot of the like UI and the promotional stuff for Three Kingdoms.
Oh, gotcha.
It's a good thing. I think it looks so nice. Oh yeah, it's nice box art as well. Yeah, I'm really excited. It looks great.
Yeah, it's kind of everything I've seen about it. It's almost like a no-brainer. It seems like they're gonna nail the combat. They're gonna nail this heavy narrative direction. So it's like, yeah, I feel like this is possibly game of the year kind of stuff we're seeing, and it's pretty dope.
Yeah, I'm all in. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's kind of different from what I suppose in a way, because Sucker Punch, his identity, I suppose, is this, like, especially with Sly Cooper, is a lot of this like crawling across thing, like jumping from building to building, and all of that. So I suppose that will help. But the combat looks sort of kind of different for them, which is exciting as well, and it looks really cool. It looks very cinematic. Which is really cool, especially for this kind of game and this kind of like aesthetic. So yeah, I think it looks great. Really exciting. It's such a good year this year for games.
Also, during that trailer, I noticed there was, and they could also turn this off for the trailer, but you're not seeing any button prompts or a heads up display, nothing like a health meter, nothing like that. So I'm hoping that I like when games, when it needs to be there, they really rely heavily on removing that or only popping it up when it's necessary and then removing it.
Yeah,
I like that a lot.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of minimal HUD. I'm a big fan of just minimal UI in general. I think so many games like Borderlands 3 is a great example of having just too much UI, where to the point where it slows the game down when you're in the menus. So yeah, I'm a big fan of. It does definitely look very minimalistic, and I think that suits the game well as well. So yeah, very exciting. Really, really cool.
Alrighty, Callum, going on with our news. So we talked about the Final Fantasy VII demo thoughts that we had that had dropped this week as well. This is our next story here about Shannon Studstill. So Shannon Studstill is this game director over at Sony Santa Monica. God of War is what they're known for. She's left recently to take a job with Stadia. So it's a pretty big deal as far as just huge PlayStation icons that are now kind of not jumping ship, but they're finding a new home somewhere else. But the original article here is from Polygon. Michael McWhirter writes, Shannon Studstill leaves God of War studio Sony Santa Monica to run new Stadia dev studio. Google continues to invest in its game streaming platform Stadia with new game development studio. The new Stadia Games and Entertainment Studio located in Playa Vista, California will be led by Shannon Studstill. Studstill is a veteran of the gaming industry, having served more than 20 years as PlayStation developer, Sony Santa Monica, most recently as Vice President of Product Development and Head of Studio. She was credited as Executive Producer of 2018's God of War reboot for PS4. So some of the stuff she's worked on, it's pretty nuts. So she's worked on the original God of War 2, 2005, Twisted Metal Black, 2001, God of War 2, The Order, 1886, Everyone's Gone to Rapture, PlayStation All-Stars, God of War Collection, and then the newest God of War reboot. So I'll turn it over to you. You know what? I don't know if you got to see this behind-the-scenes documentary, but Sony put out this documentary with the God of War team when they were making that last reboot. This is a couple months ago. It's called Raising Kratos. She's in that trailer pretty heavily because she's in there talking to Corley Barlog, and they're going back and forth. They were the ones butting heads with, do we take this different direction with Kratos? What do we do to like reinvigorate the franchise? And so she was there with that whole thing, and she's had a pivotal role from the get go. But
Yeah.
what do you think about this? Does this scare you, or is this just kind of inevitable that these huge people in the industry and eventually move to different, companies?
Yeah, I think. I mean, I've heard a lot about Shannon Studstill, even sort of before. Cause I've seen the God of War behind the scenes, but even before then, she's always been very, media friendly. Speaking in interviews, she's always been very passionate about Santa Monica and God of War in particular. And yeah, I think it's a great thing for Stadia to have a producer as sort of good as her. Like you said, in the behind the scenes, you can really see how much the sort of like Corey and that respect her and respect her opinion, and for a producer to well, I say I call her a producer, but obviously her role is a lot more senior than that. But for someone who's in charge of production, that's a really sort of incredible thing to be that involved with the very, very, very top decisions. So she must be pivotal to running that studio, and I think, especially with God of War, that's one of those huge games that came out, had no hitches in terms of when it was released. It was just announced, came out, and was amazing. So I mean, that's got to be down to the production and how well organized that is. In terms of, do I think it's going to affect Santa Monica badly? I don't think so, just because with something like production, I'm sure she's probably been the one who's instilled all of these values into the studio in terms of how to work efficiently, how everyone communicates and everything. So obviously that's her job. So you'd imagine that she'd be leaving something behind, that like some foundations that can be built on by whoever's replacing her. Obviously it will be a loss in a lot of other ways, but I think it's I mean, I haven't heard much from Stadia since it came out, so I'm not sure how this is going to end up.
Right.
I hope it's not going to be like an Amy Hennig situation who left Naughty Dog.
Yeah.
And now she's been in charge of all these cancelled Star Wars games.
Right.
So it's interesting. It'll be interesting to see what happens with it. But yeah, I've seen on sort of Twitter that everyone's wishing her well, like Corey and all the sort of game industry veterans. So yeah, it's obviously a move she wanted to do. I mean, she's been at Santa Monica for ages now, so there's obviously a reason she wanted to go. So we'll have to see what happens with that.
I also imagine that she's kind of ready for a change, and then Google comes in, it's like, hey, are you interested? Here's a butt ton of money. And she goes, yep, I will take that job. And that's I 100% approve of that. It's like, make your money. You're at the top. Like you've created this, huge, accolades under your belt. It's like, take advantage of that. You have this company that's ready to dump all this money. Go for it. And then she's head of the studio that she can now have total control over. It's like, you can really create and kind of have a bigger say in what's going on with a whole new studio. Go for it.
Yeah. Well, you've got to imagine that in terms of her like creative wants and needs, that she must have fulfilled those in spades. Not to say she doesn't have any more creative needs, but yeah, there must come to a point where she's been there for more than 20 years now.
Yep.
It must be time for her to sort of think, I've done all of this work. Now it's time for something new, like you said, and maybe to get earn some good money. And I imagine she earned great money at Santa Monica,
right.
But yeah, I mean, with Google obviously needing to invest heavily into Stadia, because as far as I'm aware, it's not been doing well at all. So this could be a really good thing for Google. But I'm interested to see what happens with the studio itself, because I haven't heard anything about it up until sort of this news broke.
With the Stadia studio?
So
I think it is a new one. I think it is like, because they've announced some like ventures, and this is a new studio is what they're claiming that's going to be run by under Stadia. But
yeah. And so is it going to be Stadia exclusive, or are they going to?
Good question. That's what I would assume. But as far as like they building a portfolio of exclusives for Stadia, because they currently don't have anything like that, so they really do need that. Stadia seems to be in trouble. I hope that, and I imagine they wouldn't put all this money into building a studio if they're going to abandon the platform, because that's a common criticism with Stadia, that Google just kind of starts these things and after 4 years, 5 years, they give up. And I'm hoping with Stadia they're not, because they're putting money into obviously taking Shannon from PlayStation and building this new studio. They got to be in it for the long haul. Will they survive long enough? I'm not sure. They have enough money, but will they keep supporting it? I'm not sure.
I suppose it's one of two ways. It's either that they're investing into this studio to give people a reason to buy a Stadia, because there's no reason to get one at the moment. Everything you can play on there, you can play on more superior consoles that give you the choice of streaming or playing offline. Right. Or the second scenario could be that maybe they are thinking that, maybe going down this route of streaming isn't the right thing at the moment, so let's focus on maybe making a Stadia games and entertainment studio that develops games independently for the platforms out there.
At least working on the software, and then just kind of staying in that realm. But
because imagine a game studio that's backed by Google. I mean, that would be incredible. Yep. So, and if they're going to acquire talent like this, then I mean that could, either way, it's exciting because it means that hopefully a great game is on the horizon at some point in the far future. But it's good for her.
Yeah. And that's the thing you mentioned in the far future. Yeah, we are. If they're just barely starting the studio, then we're not going to see anything for a good 4, or at least not going to come out for a good 4 or 5 years. Like, they're going to take some time.
No.
So at least we'll expect Stadia for that long. Stadia is interesting. I'm really hoping that they're in a rough launch. With how they've revealed the system itself and the games they have available. I'm really hoping that they start to kind of change things up. One really big demand was offering the ability to just stream individual games and not pay for the subscription service. So, or I could pay like a Netflix model where I can pay X amount of dollars and I can just stream whatever I want that's on the service. I'm hoping that they change that model up. I think that's their way back in the race. It's just making it super easy for people to jump in, try stuff, and not have to pay for a subscription.
And it's a win-win, I suppose, because even if they create this development studio and then with the intention to make Stadia more of an enticing platform to play games on, because they'll have this exclusivity. If that doesn't work out, then they can just then release their exclusive game on other platforms and make their money that way. I mean, I can't imagine Google are doing this to make money. I mean, I'm sure that they make plenty from elsewhere. It's probably just a way to. I don't even know. I don't know how these mega corporations think about these kind of choices, because they can't be wanting to do it so that they make more money, because Google are already established and they already make billions and billions and billions of dollars.
Right.
So I don't know. Maybe it's an itch that some of the executives have that they want to just get into to see why not. So I don't know. Time will tell, but it's a bold move, definitely.
Yeah. I wonder if it's also like long term. They're not going to make money at all immediately. But it's more like they're setting up to potentially make a lot more money down the line. They're going to lose money now to possibly make a lot more money down the line. And I think a lot of it comes down to shareholders. They're always like, that's the big thing on their back.
Yeah, true.
It's always like making sure they have something to show. Like, what are you doing this year? Well, we're doing this, that, and this thing. They kind of have to perform.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens with there. I'm very interested to see, going back to that Santa Monica Sony studio, what happens with God of War. Are we going to see anything from them soon? A teaser at all? Or do they really have to? Should they wait before we tease anything of a new God of War, sequel to that reboot?
Yeah. I'm very excited about that.
Oh yeah. You mentioned you watched that documentary. I suggest everyone go watch it. It's really fucking dope. It's called Raising Kratos.
Yeah.
And they talk about the rough time they had with deciding, first of all, like how to take the God of War franchise in a different direction, but also working on the mechanics themselves and stuff not working and launching and having to push the game and like just internal struggle. It's really, really good.
Yeah. And I don't know if you've seen the Last of Us one.
Oh, it's been a while, but I remember watching that.
And there's an Uncharted one as well. Yeah, and again, they're just because you're just sort of seeing these like just absolute geniuses and how they work. And I remember there's a scene in the Last of Us one where you got Bruce Straley and Neil Druckmann sat sort of like opposite each other. So you got like the game director and the creative director in there, and you can see them just bouncing ideas off each other. You know, Neil Druckmann coming more from like the story side, and Bruce Straley coming more from the how they can implement it into the game side. And it's just like, imagine just sort of hearing their conversations.
Right.
It must be. It's like they're just two titans, like, and then obviously the end result was The Last of Us. So.
Yeah, no, I have to go rewatch that because that sounds really, really awesome.
Yeah.
Alrighty, Callum. So another, not necessarily news story, but it's something to be noted, and we can kind of talk about, pulled up some thoughts on it, some facts. But the PS2 turned 20 years old. This was yesterday. It's been 20 years since this thing launched. Pretty nuts. And I wanted to get your kind of early thoughts on the PS2 and just kind of, take that trip again down memory lane. But here's some a little intro. It's from Tech Radar. So they wrote about the PS2 turning 20 years old. The PlayStation 2 sold over 158 million units in its lifetime, making it the most successful home console ever. It's been 20 years since the PS2 first launched in Japan on March 4th, 2000. The console easily dominated its competitors with the size of its software library, and it got a huge boost from the fact that it was also available, also an affordable, DVD player when such a thing was hard to find. Callum, what are your first kind of thoughts? What do you remember about the PS2 getting it, day one? Were you that guy? Did you have to wait? Where were you?
I got it day one. I remember going out with my dad, trying to find one because they were so difficult to get. Because everyone just bought one, because I think like you said, it was an affordable DVD player, which was the main selling point of it. So everyone just went out and bought one. I suppose it's kind of like when you got Black Friday and you got like a TV for like $200 or whatever. Yep. So I suppose it was treated like that. There's this DVD player that you can get for $350 or however much it was. So I remember just driving around for ages and ages trying to get one. I can't really remember sort of like my first sort of time with it, but there's a lot of great games I played on there. So many good memories, and also some bad memories when you put the disc in and you're sort of waiting and then it goes red.
Oh,
the disc isn't being read. Which was always a scary time.
I know when I when I originally got it, I think I had to wait maybe a year or something, but possibly two. It was pretty close to launch, but I had originally, saved up money. I was working over the summer, and the plan was to buy a PS2, and I went to what was then Toys R Us, when we still had Toys R Us. I went to Toys R Us. I bought it. Was feeling pretty good. I went to my grandma's house right after that, and I was talking to like some family members, my uncle, and I'm hearing a little weird beeping on your end. I'm not sure if that's...
Oh, really?
Oh, never mind. It went away. Yeah. I don't know if you had a microwave going or something, but... anyways, I got the PS2, went over to my grams, and my uncle, who's kind of like, I'm sure everyone has this uncle, he's kind of this know-it-all kind of guy. As soon as I tell him, like, oh yeah, I bought this PS2, I was pretty excited. He's like, oh yeah, that thing sucks, right? Like the Xbox, it's a computer that's like, you can make games on it. It's like, you can do anything on it. And he was just like selling me on the scene. I'm like, whoa, that's crazy. At the time, I don't know, I'm like 13 or whatever. And I just I didn't do any research. So I'm like, I guess you're right. And so I took it back after a couple of days and got an Xbox and then switched over to Xbox. And so I didn't get much time with the PS2. I just totally listened to my uncle and just bought that instead. I don't know if he was getting a cut from Xbox or something. But
well, to be fair, it's an American company, isn't it? So it's probably in the media in America. It's probably like
But at the time, I had no allegiance to whatever. But he sold it on me, and so I actually jumped ship right away, and so I didn't actually get the PS2 till later in life. But I remember that. Yeah, it was a bummer.
Yeah, no, the Xbox was great as well, except from the controllers that would like break your hands.
It was nuts. Yeah, I was actually showing my wife this recently because just showing her the old. It was like called the Duke, I want to say. And it was nuts. But as a kid, I just remember going, okay, I guess this is the controller. And I just got used to it. But it's actually, when you go back and think about it, it was, crazy to actually release that as a controller. But
no, I in fact, my PS2 had a long life. I had it, the exact same one, the day one, all the way up to when I got my PS3, which would have been 2006. And it still worked, and in fact I have no idea where it is now, but because I remember my brothers ended up getting an Xbox 360 sort of like a year or so before the PS3, so they were playing on their 360 and I was playing on my PS2 still, which I just find I know it was like a long time ago, but like it's just mad to think that, they were playing like Gears of War and I was still playing like, like God of War 2 on the PS2 or Jak 3 or whatever.
Yeah.
And then the PS3 came out, and it's just been a roller coaster since then.
Nice. Yeah, well, I pulled up some other just memories, stuff I didn't know at the time. One big thing was, I guess, a guy tried to marry his PS2. I didn't, you know what? I have that written up, but I don't have the facts on that one. So that one I actually disregard. That's one I remember hearing, but there's one that is legit. So this is a guy who, rather than married his PS2, he changed his name to PS2. And this is in your backyard here, Callum, so you have to explain this. A gamer is so obsessed with PlayStation 2 that he's named himself after one. Dan Holmes has legally changed his name to Mr. PlayStation 2. And so far, he spent a whopping, this looks like 7,000 euros or pounds on games. Mr. PS2 29 from Banbury in Oxfordshire told the Mirror that everyone teases him about how much he loves his PlayStation, so it seemed natural to change his name to be like one. Mr. PS2 Mr. PS2 said, I joked about marrying a PlayStation and asked a few vicars if they would do the service. They didn't seem too keen. How do you feel about this, Cal? Is this your dad or something? What's going on here?
I just love how they've shortened his name to Mr. PS2. Like his name he changed his name legally to Mr. PlayStation 2, and they've quoted him as Mr. PS2. Oh, that's great.
Dope. Yeah,
no, that's I love it. I think it's great.
I want to find this guy now and like see his driver's license and just kind of like touch base with him.
PlayStation 2 is a much better name than Dan Holmes anyway. So that's great.
Where's Banbury as far as compared to where you are in Oxfordshire?
So Oxfordshire is. It's not far from London. It's probably about 2 hours from me. Okay. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've never heard of Banbury, but yeah, Oxfordshire is sort of one of the big sort of counties near London.
Gotcha.
It's meant to be a nice place, actually.
Okay.
But yeah, it's home of Rebellion game studio, who make Sniper Elite and all that.
Oh, gotcha. Nice. Also, another thing, I didn't realize this was going on at the time, but in 2002, there was the Great Memory Card Famine. So this is Sony decided to not renew third-party licenses with companies like Mad Catz, and so PS2 memory cards were in extreme shortage in 2002 due to their inability to meet market demand on their own. Did you have an issue buying a memory card or anything like that?
Not that I can remember, no, but that sounds very Sony.
Right.
It's like with the Vita when the Vita came out and they didn't come with a memory card, so you had to buy a special Vita memory card, and it was like something stupid like £80 for like a 16 gigabyte one.
Yeah, that always I think that was a big issue with the Vita, where it was such a bummer, especially with micro SD being so cheap at that same time, especially now. Yeah, but I think they're trying to curb, because the original PSP had a lot of people breaking them and just like installing their own software, and so they're trying to control that entry point, but it was Yeah,
and the funniest thing now is people break the Vita all the time now, and I think Sony have actually been releasing lots of patches, even up to sort of recently, to try and sort of combat that. And it's like, just let people break them. Like Sony already left it to die.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so what do you care? Just let people mess with it now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like, oh, now you care about the Vita now that people are trying to break. Yeah. But no, I don't think I was sort of cognizant enough to understand that. I'd probably just make my dad go out and get one, and then he'd have to drive around for ages. So.
The next one here, also David Lynch was commissioned by Sony Europe to direct these commercials for PS2, and I don't have any pulled up. I do remember roughly, and I've seen footage of. They're just bonkers, They often have all this weird kind of aesthetic stuff going on, and at the end, it's PlayStation 2. It's like it had nothing to do with PlayStation, but he was this well-known director, and they're trying to depict the idea of PlayStation taking it to another realm or another dimension, and so they used him. But
I mean, it's quite smart because 20 years on, we still remember those adverts.
That's the whole point.
Whereas I suppose if they were just normal PlayStation adverts, we probably wouldn't remember them at all. So, so I think it is quite clever. I think a lot of things like that, you don't realize sort of what they're doing, but because as soon as it creates conversation, then that's when it's actually working. It's like you see like a billboard where something's spelt wrong, and you're like, oh, that's spelt wrong, and then you recognize the company who are doing it, and then you've got that company in your head.
Yeah.
And everything.
No, there's an art to it. You're right. Yeah, and they nailed it. He got a lot of crap at the time, I'm sure, but really, he did the job.
Yeah.
Another thing too, it was super interesting. So because the PS2 was so successful, and sold so much, and it was supported for a while. So support for the PS2 continued until 2013, the same year the PS4 launched. The last two games to launch on the PS2 were FIFA 2014 and Pro Evo Soccer 2014. So launches originally in 2000 and is supported for 14 years later. It's pretty nuts.
Yeah. That is crazy. It was such a great console, though. I mean, it was such a joy to sort of use, and I think when the PS3 came out, it was definitely had its issues, but they all ended up sort of straightening it out in the end. But yeah, I just don't think we'll ever get anything. Well, I say that. I suppose the PS4 has probably been just as sort of good as the PS2. I mean, there hasn't really been any issues with the PS4. It's been pretty solid since launch.
That's true. No, equivalent, stuff breaking down we've experienced with consoles in the past. I mean, we've had some of the best exclusives with the PS4, than ever. So it's actually been pretty dope.
Yeah.
One thing I also remember too was I want to say that PS2 introduced this, where the memory card memory was visualized when you started up the actual game, like the different columns that were there were like just how much memory you had for each game. I thought that was cool to just have them visualize that. And
yeah.
But we have, let's see, just some other games. I want to kind of get your take on what influential PS2 games that you experienced, but some of mine were like GTA 3, being able to walk around in 3D for the first time in a GTA world, and you can take any car, you can run around, do anything you want. Spider-Man 2, where you could fully swing around, and it just felt dope. But yeah, what were some of your takeaway games?
Jak and Daxter, definitely. I loved the first Jak and Daxter in particular. I absolutely loved. I liked Vice City was a favorite of mine. I think with Jak and Daxter and GTA, there's a bit of like a link there with them for me, because from quite an early age, I realised that when I played like these open world games, and I still feel this way about some games now, but I'd end up just pissing around in the open world until I got bored of the game, so I didn't actually want to end up finishing it. And with Jak and Daxter, after the first one, with Jak 2 and 3, they sort of tried to jump on this GTA open world kind of hype thing. And I wasn't a fan of that, and most people prefer the other Jak and Daxters because of that. But I've got to say, I preferred Jak and Daxter when it was like a platformer, sort of like Ratchet and Clank, which is another amazing series of games. Final Fantasy, obviously, Final Fantasy X was a good one. Kingdom Hearts, which you got here, which. The first Kingdom Hearts game, I didn't actually play it until recently, the first Kingdom Hearts game, and it has one of the best combat systems that I've used. It's so responsive, and there's just so many. I mean, we could sit here all day and talk about PS2 games, but I mean, there's just so many amazing ones that still today hold up, and you see them being re-released all the time.
You have like Shadow of the Colossus, being re-released. I mean, it keeps going for sure. But there was this might have been PlayStation 1, but there's that newer PlayStation exclusive remake that they just came out, Grim Fandango. Was that that was PlayStation 1, I want to say?
That was PlayStation 1, yeah. That was very in a way, I suppose, Resident Evil-esque, with the fixed camera angles and the puzzles and the tank controls. But yeah, that's a great game. That's a great game.
All right, Callum. Well, so we salute the PlayStation 2 turn 20. We'll see it next year. We can take it out for a beer. 21. Well, in the States over here, it's 21 is drinking age. But what is it over in the UK?
It's 18 in the UK. And actually, when I was 19 or 20, I was the manager of a bar at a hotel. And I went on holiday over to California, and I wasn't even allowed to sit at the bar. And I was like, and I said to the barman, I was like, yeah, I understand. I was like, but what's quite funny is back home, I'm the manager of a bar, and I can't even sit at one.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's quite funny.
Weird.
But,
we're very strange over
here.
I
suppose you guys, I suppose like kids in America probably start drinking at the same age we do. I mean, we all start drinking at like 15, 16.
Yeah.
And then, so I imagine it's just a longer period of time that you have to get people to buy you alcohol.
Right, that's exactly it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Alrighty, Callum. Well, we got our last news story here is just more bad news with the coronavirus. So this is some speculation, but it seems like it's going this direction. This is from IGN's Matt Kim. E3 plans continue after LA declares state of emergency over coronavirus. So I'll break down some of the details I got here. Following the announcement that the city of Los Angeles is declaring a state of emergency over concerns about COVID-19, the ESA, or Entertainment Software Association, has issued a new statement regarding E3, saying they are monitoring and evaluating the situation daily. The ESA says E3 still plan to proceed in the full statement. The health and safety of our attendees, exhibitors, partners, and staff is our top priority, while the ESA continues to plan for a safe and successful E3 show June 9th through the 11th in 2020. We are monitoring and evaluating the situation daily. The city of San Francisco also issued a state of emergency for the city prior to the organizers announcing that the Game Developers Conference will be postponed if the situation worsens. Now, to pull out of this, we had GDC not cancel, but postpone just last week. And so in Los Angeles, they're monitoring COVID-19. I imagine it looks like nothing changes and they're going that direction of postponing as well. But what do you think? Do you think E3 is going to happen this year? What are you thinking?
I don't know. It's hard because June's coming up. It's fast approaching. You'd imagine that if things stay the same, that it would have to be postponed. Just for the sake of the health services, really. Because like you said, when we were talking about it before, you've got all the people sharing controllers, putting VR headsets on, and it's gonna spread like fire that way. And it'll just create an immense pressure on health services around those areas. So I think it's the sensible thing to do. It's a shame though, because I love E3, and I know that it's starting to die out. And the ESA, I know are not doing a bit strapped for cash as well. I know that E3 is like their main money provider, so this is going to be a big decision for them. Because you've got like GDC's more of an invitational thing where people come and they talk, and it's more like a meetup rather than this huge event. And I think they're offering refunds, GDC, aren't they? And I think the talks that they were going to do, they're going to post for free on their websites, so people will still get them.
Okay, that's good. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, so I think GDC are doing some good things to make sure that what would have happened at the event is still going to happen. Just people have to access it in different ways, whereas E3 can't really do that. So you'd imagine if it stays as it is, then it will probably be postponed. But
do you think
there's not much?
Is this just like another, not nail in the coffin, but pretty big blow to E3 with already these different companies pulling out? And you have this where they have to postpone it or not have it at all. Could you see these other companies going, well, we'll just go and stream our announcements, and then realizing that they didn't really have to put any money into it compared to like going to E3? Do they realize, hey, let's just stream our stuff from now on and not actually physically?
Yeah, I didn't think of it. I didn't think of it that way because, again, with GDC, it's not something that these developers are going to come. They're going to talk about. They have their talks or whatever, but they're not like. They don't have to have those talks like at that time, whereas these companies need to show off their games. So it's going to be a big blow if it does get postponed, because these companies are still going to have to show everything off. Mm-hmm. But also, again, going back to the fact that the ESA have been in trouble for a while now, especially with their data leak, which I'm sure they've had to pay lots of fines about. And again, with E3 being their main moneymaker, they've probably spent huge amounts of money on this show already. So it could be bad news for the ESA as well financially.
Yeah, it's tough. It's kind of funny how this year this COVID thing is really changing the industry, and aside from all the other stuff it's doing, where it's actually killing people and getting everyone sick, it's also just throwing the world on its head. So I don't know what to think. We're kind of in a strange time. I'm imagining we kind of find some balance point where it's I'm assuming starts to slow down. We start to get ahead of it, and then it kind of goes by the wayside. We've had other diseases like this. Say there's like SARS, bird flu that rise, and then we kind of we move past them. I'm assuming it's the same with this disease. I'm also saying this while I'm sick myself, so I'm not sure if I have it and I'm already downplaying it.
Well, I think if me and you were to get it, we'd probably be all right. It's the sort of old
that's
people.
Yeah, and so me and my wife were having the same conversation. Like from the information that we're gleaming, it's like it's older people that they're more susceptible to it. But then do we carry it to our elderly, you know, family. Like, it's like, should we interact anymore?
Yeah.
Like, what's the deal with that? I don't know, but
yeah, it's just a reason to stay in bed and watch films on Netflix or go down YouTube rabbit holes. So I mean, to be honest, if I was to get it, I wouldn't. I'd be like, oh, that's all right. Just a couple of weeks off work, maybe I'll stay in bed.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's in terms of like stress on health services and people having and obviously more vulnerable people being worstly affected. It's bad, but hopefully a vaccine will be found and we can all forget that it happened and stop talking about it because it's getting quite boring.
Yeah, it's just another thing every day with this.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, that's all I have for you this week, Callum. We'll end it there. Where can they find you online?
Cool. So just Twitter, at Bear Munro, which is BareMunro. And that's about it, really. Or you can find me at my house in England.
Nice. We'll come knocking on your door. Already, Calvin. You can find us on twitter.com as well. It's Plastic Heart Pod on Twitter. That's for us this week. We'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.
See you later.
You're too late. I've already summoned meteor.
Okay, let's go.